My name is Daniel Harker and I am writing this from a hospital room in Duluth, Minnesota. I have all of my fingers and toes. I have not lost any weight. The doctors say I am physically healthy. But I know something is wrong with me because the hunger has not stopped. I need to tell you what happened in the Boundary Waters. Last November, my friend Marcus and I went on a late-season canoe trip in the Boundary Waters Canoe Area Wilderness, up near the Canadian border. We had done the trip every fall for 6 years. We knew the area well. We had the right gear, the right experience, and we filed a proper backcountry permit with the ranger station. The first 2 days were perfect. Cold, clear skies, no other paddlers on the water. We portaged into a small lake that Marcus had found on an old survey map, one that wasn't on the usual tourist routes. The lake was surrounded by dense pine forest and there was a flat granite shelf on the north shore that made a perfect campsite. On the second night, I woke up at 3 in the morning. The temperature had dropped well below zero. I could see my breath inside the tent. But that wasn't what woke me up. It was a smell. A thick, rotting, meaty smell, like a deer carcass that had been sitting in the sun for a week. It was overpowering. I gagged and covered my nose with my sleeping bag. Marcus was still asleep. I unzipped the tent flap and looked outside. The moon was full and the granite shelf was bathed in pale blue light. The lake was perfectly still, like a sheet of black glass. The trees were motionless. No wind. At the edge of the tree line, maybe 30 meters from our tent, something was standing. It was tall. Far too tall. Its silhouette against the moonlit pines suggested a height of at least 3 meters, maybe more. It was impossibly thin, with limbs that looked like birch branches wrapped in dark leather. Its head was crowned with what looked like antlers, wide and branching, but they could have been part of its skull. It was watching us. I couldn't move. I couldn't make a sound. I just stared at it and it stared back with eyes that reflected the moonlight like a deer's eyes, but wrong somehow. Too high up. Too far apart. Glowing with a dull amber light that seemed to come from inside the skull rather than reflecting from outside. It stood there for what felt like an hour. Then it turned and walked into the trees. Not quickly. Slowly and deliberately, each step covering an impossible distance, its long legs stepping over fallen trunks like they were nothing. The rotting smell faded with it. I didn't sleep for the rest of the night. In the morning, I told Marcus what I had seen. He went quiet. Then he told me something his grandfather had told him when he was a boy. His grandfather was Ojibwe, from the Leech Lake Band, and he had told Marcus about the Wendigo. The Wendigo is not a creature. It is the spirit of insatiable hunger. In the old stories, it was a person who committed the ultimate taboo, who consumed human flesh during a harsh winter to survive. The act transformed them. Their body grew enormous but their hunger grew faster than their body, so they were always starving, always empty, always consuming. Marcus said his grandfather told him that the Wendigo still walks in the deep woods of the north. It follows travelers. It watches and waits. And when it finds someone alone, someone vulnerable, someone whose spirit is weak, it doesn't attack them. It does something worse. It makes them hungry. We should have left immediately. But the portage back to the main lake was 8 kilometers and the weather was turning. A storm was coming in from the northwest. We decided to wait one more day. That was our mistake. That night, the smell came back. Stronger. It woke both of us. Marcus grabbed the flashlight and swept the tree line. Nothing. But the smell was everywhere, thick and choking, and beneath it there was another smell, something almost sweet, like meat cooking over a fire. And I was hungry. Not normal hungry. A deep, grinding hunger that felt like my stomach was trying to digest itself. I hadn't eaten in only 6 hours, but I felt like I hadn't eaten in weeks. I tore through our food bag. I ate 3 energy bars, a bag of trail mix, half a block of cheese. I couldn't stop. Marcus was yelling at me to slow down, but I couldn't hear him over the roaring emptiness in my gut. When I finally stopped, I had eaten almost a full day's worth of food in 10 minutes. My stomach was painfully distended. But the hunger was still there, lurking beneath the fullness like a second stomach that nothing could fill. Marcus made us leave at first light. We paddled across the lake and started the portage in the gray dawn. The storm hit us halfway through. Snow and wind, visibility down to nothing. We pushed through, carrying the canoe and our packs through the blinding white. I heard it following us. Not the scraping or footsteps. The breathing. Long, ragged, wet breaths that came from the trees on either side of the portage trail. And every time I heard it breathe, the hunger surged through me like electricity. We made it to the main lake. We paddled 4 hours through the storm. We reached the trailhead at dark and drove to Duluth without stopping. Marcus dropped me off at my apartment and went home. That was 3 weeks ago. The hunger hasn't stopped. I eat constantly but nothing satisfies it. I've been to the doctor. My blood work is normal. My thyroid is normal. There is nothing physically wrong with me. But I can smell it. That sweet, cooking smell. It follows me everywhere. It's strongest when I'm around other people. When I sit next to someone on the bus or stand in line at the grocery store, the smell becomes overwhelming and the hunger spikes so hard that my vision blurs. I know what the Wendigo did to me. It didn't need to kill me in the forest. It planted something inside me. A seed of hunger that will keep growing until I do something terrible to make it stop. Marcus hasn't answered his phone in 4 days. I'm checking myself into the hospital today. I'm going to tell them I need help. I'm going to tell them about the hunger and the smell and the thing in the trees. I don't think they'll believe me. But I need to be somewhere with locked doors and people watching me. Because the hunger is getting worse. And the smell is getting sweeter. And I'm starting to look at people the way a starving man looks at food.